Hi, welcome to Teach Me Miss D. This video is all about column addition and how to help your children in the early stages. Column addition comes into primary schools mostly in year 3 and probably right at the beginning of the year, and it takes a while to grasp. It can take children up to 2 weeks or longer. In my class recently, it was a good 2 weeks before we got it, and every child was different. Some got it quite quickly, some took a lot longer. So the more you can help at home, the better. Now, as I've said in previous videos, children really need to know their number bonds. They need to be able to add simple small numbers, because otherwise, even if they learn the method for column addition, they're still going to make mistakes in the actual calculation and therefore get the answer wrong. So keep practicing those games that I'm posting up and make sure that they've got all their number facts really secure. If you say 7 plus 6, they should know the answer straight away. So have a look below and I'll show you how to begin with column addition. So when I start column addition, I always start with my place value table, which you will have seen in my other videos, hundreds, tens and units, and I tend to start with smaller numbers that the children will already know the answer to. So I will write down 25, which is 2 tens and 5 units, and I'm just going to start off with a simple calculation of adding 3. The equals go at the bottom, just as they would have equal signs if you wrote it out horizontally. We keep the equal signs in the vertical method. Now, children will already know this answer. They can count it on their fingers by holding 25 and counting up 3. That's fine. We want them to know the answer because we're showing them how to set it out. So when I first go through this with the children, I will make sure they can see that we have got 2 tens and 5 units, 5 ones. We're only adding 3 units to this. So are we going to add this to the tens column or are we going to add it to the units column? We're adding it to the units column. 1, 2, 3. If you've got any objects around the house where the children can add this or use their fingers, that's really useful to do. But now we need to look at how we're going to record that. So we added the 3 units to the units column to the 5 we already had, making 8 units in total. With the tens column, we didn't add anything, so it stays as 2 tens. The children would have hopefully been able to tell you that 25 plus 3 is 28, but now they can see how we set it out. And now we can start looking at slightly bigger numbers. I don't go too big to begin with because, again, it's having the children's confidence. If they know the answer already, they'll know that they've done it right. So I might pick the next number as 325 add 264. Again, drawing my equal signs. Now, in the beginning, when they learn column addition, it's really important to pick your numbers carefully. When they're first learning, I try and always pick numbers which aren't going to go over 9, because that's the second step to column addition, which I'll show you in my next video. So I'm going to start off with the units. It's really important to drum in from the very beginning that we start pretty much all calculations with units. It'll be the same when they move on to column subtraction and also column multiplication. Division's the only other tricky one. So I'm going to start with 5 and 4. How many units have I got altogether? It's 9. So it goes underneath my units column. Then I can have a look at the tens. We've got 2 tens plus 6 tens, and I try and always say that to the children because it's not just 2 plus 6. These are tens. It's 20 plus 60. So 2 tens plus 6 tens is 8 tens, or 20 plus 60 is 80. When you start talking to them using those words, they'll make it much clearer that the answer is 89, which seems a lot more reasonable. Then all we've got to look at is the hundreds. 300 plus 200 makes 500. they'll probably be getting pretty confident by now. So it's a really good idea to get them used to practicing these. Maybe leave them little ones around the house for them to solve. If you've got magnets on your fridge that you can set up and place them, maybe you've got those magnetic bath things that you can place in the bath at bath time. Just one a day will really help them gain their confidence. Make it into a little game, maybe hide them around the house and challenge them to compete with somebody who's in the house with them to see who can find and then answer the most. Maybe they can compete with their dad or their mum or their auntie or granddad or the childminder or a younger brother and sister. Hopefully not younger, maybe older. And get them to keep finding them and practicing them. It will be the best way. And once they get confident with this, try laying it out in a different way for them. So rather than them having it already given to them as a column, you could write them out ones horizontally. So 621 plus 376 equals. This way they've got to remember how to set it up in the columns and how to line up everything according to the correct place value. Okay, and then again, when you want to practice something a little bit harder, give them a number like 457 plus 32 equals. I'm not making the numbers huge at this point because that would just lead to errors, but this requires another step of thinking, because this time when they lay out their hundreds, tens and units place value table, they'll write the 457 in as usual, but the 32 they really need to think about, because most children will have a tendency initially to line it up here and put the equal sign, because the margin of their page is here and they're used to lining things up on the left. But if they write this here, that 3 is now in the hundreds column. In 32, does it have 3 hundreds? After a brief conversation, you can realise with them that it doesn't, and actually 32 is 3 tens and 2 units. So we need to line those up accordingly. When you start the column addition this time, if I just move this up a little bit so you can see, again drill in the idea of starting at the units column. 7 units plus 2 units equals 9 units. Then I'm on my tens. 5 tens and 3 tens is 8 tens, or 50 and 30 makes 80. And then we look at the hundreds. They'll notice there's nothing here because in the number 32 there's actually 0 hundreds. So it's like saying 4 add 0, which equals 4. Okay, so once they get used to that, try leaving some of those around the house for them. But don't worry about giving them massive numbers at this point. It will be much more beneficial to pick your numbers carefully, make sure they don't add up to over 9 to begin with while the children are gaining confidence, and make sure you use numbers which don't always have the same number of digits. Try adding a 3-digit number to a 2-digit number, or a 4-digit number to a 2-digit number, but at this point there's no need to go a lot bigger. Now, hopefully the children will gain confidence with practicing these, and then they'll be ready to try my next video, which will show you how to do carrying, or bridging as we call it in school, which will be the next step to addition. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please comment below if there's anything you want me to do in particular, and I'll see you at the next video. Thanks ever so much.